what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another video. This time I want to go over the state of the game. So a lot of this is going to be my opinion on what the state of the game currently is and what the meta looks like and how that's kind of impacted by the card pool. But just to make it not completely opinionated, which a lot of this will be my opinion, I want to look at this post on Facebook that shows a lot of the decks that have been winning recently. So some of these I do know of, some of these I don't exactly know of. So we have like the New York Super Release Tournament. We had Red Blue Hurrigarn win. So that kind of plays into this this Red Blue aggro format that people know is like prevalent and like is really strong, and it's probably pretty unbalanced and pretty broken. I do believe it is quite on the broken side. So then we have the ARG Worcester that was won by SS3 Mono Blue. Now this is a control deck. This is a slower control deck, but this also is going to play into the problem that I'm going to bring up after we get through this list. Core TCG, Red Blue Hurrigarn, makes sense. Toledo, Red Blue Hurrigarn, makes sense. PPG, Super Saiyan 3 Mono Blue, again, kind of the same thing as ARG Boston, ARG Worcester, like that Mono Blue, but SS3 is a leader. Keep that in mind. PPG, Shoe Blue, this is kind of a meme. This is hilarious, but it's pretty cool to see a deck like this win. However, notice SS3 being the leader again. Then we had the 1K event. U7 Gohan wins. That's another Red Blue aggro deck. That's a turn 2, turn 3 kill deck. I am fairly certain. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Then we have the Super Saiyan 3 Yellow Apes deck. This is another control mid-range strategy. Notice the leader, Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Creative decks at top are splitted. This is really cool. This is bound to happen in the meta. Like, it just happens. Controversial decks, 2 times second place SS3 Apes. So that's the thing. Again, Super Saiyan 3 at the head of a mid-range control deck. So, this might seem a little diverse. Like, I think this guy is posting this to make it seem a bit diverse, but realistically, it's kind of not. So the way I see this is we have Red Blue. Like everyone knows, it's one of the strongest things in the format. It's flute recycling. It's untapping energy to abuse like 2 to 3 energy to kill your opponent. It's just OTK decks, realistically. And then they're super strong. They have cheap killers, cheap investments, and they constantly plus in their attacks. But then we do have some showing for some mid-range control strategies like Mono Blue that actually just won ARG Boston, which is actually, I think, for most people, very surprising. I think a lot of people expected Red Blue to win. So why was a control deck able to win in this format where, Red Blue aggro is supposed to be the top dog? Well, I think it has to do completely with this leader, the Son Goku leader. So I think we have 2 main problems in this format right now. And I will say this as a disclaimer. I like this format a lot better than the Shugesh format. It was way too long. It got really stale. It was just like whoever drew more Shugeshes won towards the end of the format. So, and of course there was outplaying, there were skillful players, but really only amongst the mirror match. And that's like one of the biggest problems I feel like with a tier 0 kind of format is like people will argue that there was plenty of skill in the format, but that's only in the mirror match not you cannot expect to do well in the tournament unless you play the top deck. In that case, it was Ginyu Veggies. And yeah, there was skill in the mirror match, but not everyone is an aggro player. Not everyone enjoys that style of play. So when that's the kind of format, in my opinion, I am not a huge fan of it. So, but back to my issues with this format and the state of the game in this format, we have the Son Goku leader being the only leader, in my opinion, that can truly implement a control strategy that can go far in a tournament right now. Why is that? Well, you have energy ramp, right? So your energy ramp is what allows you to kind of get to your plays faster. So you start on turn 2, on turn 1, and you get closer to self-awakening. So one of the biggest problems in SS3, whether you're playing an aggro variant or a control variant, is how fast you can awaken and just get a ginormous amount of cards. And you start your plays early. So most of the control cards in this game, like Bergamo, like the Super Saiyan 3 Rising Fist Goku, a lot of those cards like that, they're bigger drops. They're 4, 5, and 6 drops. No leader can get to that point like SS3 can, because you're energy ramping, you're getting closer to awakening, so you're able to have quite a few cards in your hand to defend, and then you just get the untap 3 at the end of your turn, which allows you to play defense and allows you to play that control strategy. You can tap out on your turn for a completely aggressive play or a completely controlling play, and then you have 3 energy up no matter what, guaranteed on your turn to defend and to dictate how your opponent's turn is going to go. And in my opinion, this is not really a healthy thing for the game, because you're not punished for anything. You're allowed to mindlessly just do it. Not mindlessly, because you will like have to decide on the correct play for the turn, but you can make a play and you're gonna guarantee to have 3 energy on defense. And this kind of, for me, it's kind of disheartening that it's the only way to play a control strategy in this game, viably, at least in my opinion, because of how broken this leader is. So, you know, we see, like I said, we had the ape decks, we had the mono blue decks. These are slow, snowbally, mid-range control decks. But think about it. Can any other leader support these types of main decks? Can any other leader right now support apes to become a top table deck? Can any other leader support mono blue to become this type of deck? So it kind of poses the question that Super Saiyan 3 is the issue, that it's the only thing that can support a deck like this, in my opinion. But, you know, the counter argument to this is, well, what is there going to be to keep red blue flute aggro in check? Well, red blue flute aggro is an issue on its own, and I know people are aware of this. I know people agree with me on this. So the issue with red blue flute aggro is that it is just way too good at doing what it does. It is way too good at aggro. Right now, red blue is easily the best color combination in the game. You have all these great blue support cards, like your blue leaders that can use legendary flute. So typically it's like Hirudegarn, SS3, and Trunks that are the better aggro leaders. So we have Flute recycling your 1-drops so you can replay them again and just get more attacks in. We have Unyielding Spirit, Trunks, and Senzu Bean that just allow you to, like, turn 2, turn 3, manipulate the same energy over and over and over again to kill your opponent. And then we have just red having like these crazy bomb cards. You know, we have Sankaba, a 1 energy double striker. Like, this card kills people all the time because it's just such a cheap investment, and it just +1s on attack. Intensifying Power Trunks, great over the course of the mid game and early game because you're just critting your opponent, not allowing them to get resources back as you're swinging at them. So you're +1ing as you swing, and they're almost negging 1 as they take hits because they're not going to be able to get that card from life to hand. And then you just have Intensifying Power Trunks being able to go into Chain Attack Trunks and then drop your Zeno the Playing God. This is just like a board and hand reset. It's honestly really, really broken. Like, being able to come back from games that you should have no business winning, it's kind of an issue. You know, Chain Attack Trunks into Zeno is a broken combo that a lot of people acknowledge. I personally think it's incredibly broken because, like I said, that you just come back from games you should have no business winning. And for a combo like this to reset the entire game, it's way too easy of an investment to just go turn 2 into it. Either that or just the 1-drop into Chain Attack into Zeno. And then you have a bomb card like Foreseeing Hit that is like, even if red gets into the late game, which, like, theoretically I don't think aggro should be able to make it into such a late game like so well, but Foreseeing Hit allows that to happen because you drop it on 4, 3 if you're playing Son Goku, and you just rip your opponent's hand apart. So you have that controlling aspect. I think this form of an aggro deck in this game can just do way too many things over the course of a game. And if you're playing something like SS3, it's allowed to be way too defensive. So, you know, you can play SS3 aggro, and then you have 3 energy up for topos, for your free Hans, for your pseudo super combos. So obviously, you know, this red blue fruit aggro is also an issue in the game right now. So what is the biggest problem with this deck? A lot of people might say flute. I definitely agree with that. I do think that the amount of untapping a deck like this can have is also an issue, but then again, I think it might also be healthy in the sense that, like, using something like a Senzu Bean, using something like a Trunks is technically a neg1 to further your plays, and then, you know, you try and just like blow your whole hand out on your early game attacks, which is what aggro wants to do. But I guess flute being able to recycle your 1-drops and allowing you to constantly replay them is probably the bigger issue. The fact that it also draws 1 when you return your own thing is just incredibly crazy for these aggro decks because they become so consistent. And then these aggro decks have the ability to play late game with things like Chain Attack Trunks into Foreseeing Hit. And then, like, an aggro deck that theoretically wants to just go all out and attack the opponent nonstop has way too many defensive options, I think, for it to be balanced in the form of, like, the Son Goku leader. So that's my kind of thing with red blue. I dare to say my piece with the Son Goku being the only viable leader right now that can play control. Like I said, because of that energy ramp, because of the untapping 3, because of you being able to get to your plays quicker, because of your getting closer to Awaken just as fast. You know, we have some balancing issues with the game at this point, in my opinion. Like I said, I think this format is a whole lot better than Ginyu format because, like, in Ginyu format, you could realistically play like Ginyu, like that was your #1 best bet of topping an event or winning an event. Then we had U7 Frieza that had a very good shot as well, and like certain variants of SS3 Goku. right now, I guess we do technically have a triangle format where it's like Son Goku, Hirudegarn, and Trunks, and then Son Goku has like, you know, several different variants whether you're playing aggro, apes, or mono blue. But I mean, this is kind of my issue with the format right now, because we're all aware that we have unbalanced cards. You know, we're all aware we have things like Flute. We're all aware that Son Goku is kind of an unbalanced leader, I think, for the most part. But you know, the thing with this game is there's so many leaders out there. There's so many ways to play this game. There's so many different color combinations, but some of them are just really not viable right now because of the way the card pool is. And I hope that this kind of does get addressed in the future. You know, I don't know necessarily what could fix this. I think we could see better counterplay cards, better negates that kind of stifle aggro a bit more. Perhaps something happening to Flute where it gets banned or errated. Perhaps something that happens to SS3 Goku where it gets banned or errated. I don't know. But I definitely think we could have a more fun, more enjoyable format if it wasn't just red blue aggro being dominant and then the only viable control tempo strategy being the SS3 Goku leader. I think that this format will get stale very quickly, just like Ginyu did. You know, the format's fresh right now. It's new. People are having fun with it. I am also having, you know, some fun with it, but I know that this will become Ginyu where it gets stale after a very short amount of time. You know, I don't think it's incredibly fun where if you're like the gentleman Rob Russo said when on 3XG Productions, he said, I'm not an aggro player. I didn't want to go into this event playing Trunks, so I tried to find a way that I could play a control deck, but he had to resort to going with the SS3 leader. And you know, he said he enjoys the leader, which is perfectly fine. I think the leader is very, very cool, but I think it sets a problem where it just like we've said in the past, it becomes a leader that makes any main deck viable, but at the same time reduces diversity, especially reduces leader diversity, and reduces your deck diversity in a given tournament. So that's kind of my opinion on it. I believe that this winning list kind of supports me a bit. You know, we have a lot of red blue winning, and then any control like tempo mid-range strategy is only supported by SS3 for the most part. So I think that kind of proposes an issue. Like, we only have one viable way to run control, tempo, mid-range, and then red blue is just way too strong. Like, with the recycling, with the untapping, with the cheap threats, with the board reset, with the mid-game plays, like aggro could do way too much, and the only viable way to counter it being SS3 Goku is also an issue. So two main issues. You know, I think this game does need a little bit of rebalancing, but I'm very hopeful for the future of this game because, like I said, I think we've made a big improvement from Shugesh format, so I only hope that it gets better and better. I hope that everyone enjoys the future of this game to come, because I hope it's going to be a great future. So yeah, with that being said, you know, I want to know what you guys think about the format. I want to know what you guys think about my opinions on things. Like, if I'm wrong, let me know. If you agree with me, let me know. Please just let me know what you think, because this is a video to kind of get discussion rolling, to see where everyone else's head's at with the format, see what everyone else thinks. So yeah, if you like this video, leave a thumbs up, subscribe, let's spark a discussion. Let me know what you think. This is Joey from CrossFit TCG, and I'll see you next time.